Hello, my name is Sydney Evans from the University of Florida. That is my driver's license. And this is my note card, front and back. These are my 3 audience members. Please wave to the camera. Thank you all for being here today. So did you know that there is a garbage patch that is twice the size of Texas in the Pacific Ocean? In this garbage patch, it is mostly composed of microplastics. Today, I want to persuade you why you should want to get involved in an environmental cleanup and also to reduce your use of single-use products. This topic is important to everybody because we all contribute to pollution. Also think about future generations. You want to also, contribute and reduce pollution for them. So my credibility to this topic is I've researched this topic for the past 10 years. I've actually been involved in a lot of environmental cleanups and even started a blog about environmental cleanups. So the 3 things I want to talk about today, with the problem with pollution taking over the planet at this point, the solution, which is to reduce our use of single-use products, and the visualization, which is sustainability. So the first of these is the problem, which is pollution. So according to Courtney from the National Resources Defense Council, she said since the 1950s, there's been 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic produced. Would you believe that half of that was produced in the last 15 years? And also worldwide, each year, we produce over 300 million tons of plastic, and half of that is just single-use plastic. According to National Geographic, there was a study done on table salt, just plain old table salt, and it showed that over 90% of the salt tested had microplastics in it. This study was done of 21 different countries. According to PBS, by the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic than fish in the ocean. The environmental group that I am in is called Rising Tides of the St. Johns Riverkeeper. I've learned a lot of information being with this group. One thing that I learned is that pollution does not come primarily from commercial sources like we're so used to seeing. It actually comes from us as residents. If people pollute on the ground, just in their neighborhood, it gets swept away into the sewer drains as well as into the rivers and creeks, which all then lead into the ocean. So that brings us up to the topic of pollution in the ocean. So the reason that pollution is so bad in the ocean is because it has no natural decomposition. So with that being said, by the motion of the waves along with the sunlight hitting onto the plastic or plastic bottle, for example, that does slowly break it down. But because plastic is made of petroleum and other chemicals as well, this is actually very toxic. So the reason this is bad is because fish mistake this, what we call microplastic, for plankton, which is their main food source, or a lot of fish it is. So what happens then is that, the fish eat the microplastic, and then we catch the fish, and then we eat the fish that are now also filled with plastic. So it's full cycle. We create the plastic, and then we're eventually eating the plastic. It's really gross. So the solution to this is to reduce. Obviously, to reduce is what the end goal is. According to Almost Zero Waste, only 9% of plastic ever gets recycled, and the rest of it ends up in landfills and in oceans. According to Earth Day, Washington, D.C. was actually the first city to tax on plastic bags. They collect a 5-cent revenue on every plastic bag. So if you were to go into a Walmart or whatnot, you would have a 5 cent on every single plastic bag that you bought or used. Because of this, people don't want to pay that, obviously. None of us would want to pay that. So since 2005, there's been an 85% reduction rate. They went from 22.5 million bags per month to 3.3 million bags per month. So I understand most people don't want to change. Change is a very hard thing to deal with. But we can make simple steps. Instead of using a plastic water bottle, use a stainless steel water bottle, use a reusable water bottle. Same with diapers is a huge contributor to pollution. Instead of using disposable diapers, use, diapers, a cloth diaper, for example. People did it years until, and that brings me to my next point, that people did this forever. It's only been since the 1970s that that plastic was made, and this became such a big problem of the single-use plastics. So again, that's the solution, is to reduce our use on single-use products. So the thing is, what can we do to fix this? My visualization is sustainability. So imagine if what I've talked about today, in the next 10 to 20 years, we don't change anything. Nothing's going to change. It's only going to get worse. We're going to walk outside and see trash on the ground. We're going to go fishing, and there's going to be trash littered all in the rivers and oceans. Nothing is going to change. Our landfills are only going to get higher. But what if we do make a change? In the next 10 to 20 years, if we do make a change, we're not going to have near the amount of landfills that we have. It's going to be cut back. We're not going to go fishing and see trash and debris set up. And though it may not be a not, it would be a slow cutback. We're going to have plans implemented, such as bans on certain products or consequences to our actions. An example of this is Germany. I went to Germany this past December, and it is a sustainable country. So the beautiful thing about Germany is when you do drive, whether it be on the Autobahn or on a back road, there's no trash. You do not see any trash. They recycle everything. I'm talking about from a used tissue to, a candy wrapper. They literally recycle everything. They also use natural energy, such as windmills and solar power, to produce energy. So in conclusion, I just want you to do your part. We all contribute to this. There's no one factor, no one person. Everybody contributes to pollution. The goal is to consume less. The more we keep putting into these companies to produce, the more they're going to produce. So we just need to consume less. The first step is, like I was saying, to reduce, reuse, and recycle. But obviously we need better recycling plans if only 9% is actually getting recycled. So in summary, the reason I am so passionate about this topic is I've always loved the environment. Ever since I can remember, my dad and I would go out fishing, you would be on the water, we would always be outside. My family and I, we always grew up doing outside things. And now if I go outside, I always see trash. I can't go anywhere without seeing trash and pollution. That's why I'm so passionate about this topic. So my personal statement is that I have joined an environmental company or environmental cleanup, and that is what I do. So you feel free, anytime you need me, please join me, and I'd love to have you. Do I have any questions?
Yeah, what's the city with the most plastic in their salt?
It wouldn't be a city. The country that I did research on was Indonesia. They had the most. Mm-hmm.
How about the least?
The least was France. They had the least. Do I have any other questions?
Is there a specific name for the tidal pool or whatever it was that collects all the trash?
Yes, that's a great question. It's called a gyre, and it's actually made from the always moving currents. Think of it like a whirlpool, and that's what it does. It creates a whirlpool effect, and that's what collects all the trash. It's called a gyre. Do I have any other questions?
What was your favorite cleanup so far that you've been involved in?
The springs. I absolutely love cleaning springs. If you've never been to a spring, I highly advocate for it. It's always 72 degrees. It's crystal clear. So, you can find a lot of trash in the springs, which is both kind of sad and cool. It's very easy to see, but it's very sad to see that people are still obviously trashing our natural resources.
And your favorite spring?
Itchnatuckney. I really enjoy going to Itchnatuckney Springs.
Yep.
Do I have any other questions? Well, thank you for all listening to my speech, and I thank you for being here.